station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Happening now at 9, covering the entire DMV. Fighting anti-Semitism on the holiest day of the Jewish year. How one Maryland county is stepping up their fight as incidents continue to rise. And 3 injured and 1 killed in a shooting at a DC nightclub. What we know tonight. And big changes coming to Metro bus routes this week. What you need to know ahead of your commute. Good evening. This is DC News Now at 9. I'm Haley Mylon in for Ben Dennis. And we begin tonight with a look at our weather after a stormy weekend. Scott Sumner joining us now from the Weather Center. It's a little brisk outside. What can we expect this week?
Yeah, unfortunately, that cool air, Haley, is not going anywhere fast, and there'll be some fog building in overnight tonight. You can see in the distance, illuminated with some of the city lights back here, some low clouds. There is going to be some lower visibilities over the next several hours. Now, by the time we get to around that midnight hour and thereafter, we could have some fog in the region, and this is the dual highway here up in the Hagerstown region. Right now, visibilities are fine. Fredericksburg, Manassas, the district, and Annapolis. Baltimore down to 6 miles an hour, 6 miles visibility. Westminster at 4, but the real chunk of the low visibility down to a quarter mile or less is well out towards the mountains. So that's where it's starting, but it will spread further east overnight tonight. Wind gusts, they've been a little bit up there this hour, up to 20 miles an hour practically at Winchester, Leesburg, and Manassas. But overall, compared to where we were yesterday, those winds have relaxed quite a bit. However, there's still some wet roads out there, a little slippery in spots in parts of Fairfax, Loudoun counties here, the district, and points north of there. We'll have more details about our extended 7-day forecast, let you know if there's some improvement in our weather coming up.
Scott, thank you. And today we are still seeing the destruction following in Ophelia's wake from yesterday. Take a look at your screen. This car was crushed by a fallen tree in Montgomery County. According to Fire and Rescue, this happened on West Old Baltimore Road earlier this afternoon. The driver was inside the vehicle when the accident happened, but there were no serious injuries, thankfully. Jewish people across the DMV are marking the holiest day of the Hebrew calendar. Tonight is Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. The holiday falls the same time a new report raises concerns over anti-Jewish hate crimes across Maryland. Our Dave Laval digs into the issue. Dave, you've been working this story all day long. You've been talking to people who are very plugged in the community. Rockville's Jewish Community Center. Tell us, how serious of a problem is this?
Good evening, Haley. Well, we can tell you that a lot of people that we spoke to around here did not want to go on camera, and they're not happy about what has been going on. You see, a new report from the American Jewish community finds the number of anti-Semitic crimes across Maryland increased by 60% last year compared to 2021. And the fear is next year's report could be worse.
And it comes from people who are just simply ignorant.
Alan Ronkin reacts to the latest incident against Jews in Montgomery County. The principal of Blair High School sent this letter to parents last Friday after reports some students recorded themselves as they made an anti-Semitic salute. It came about a month after someone spray painted an Aryan reference, a black swastika, and a palm tree on the wall under the Josiah Henson Parkway pedestrian tunnel in North Bethesda.
They don't know Jews. They don't know much about our community.
The vandalism is among the high-profile anti-Semitic incidents around the county this year. Last year saw 77 similar acts across Maryland. The numbers from a new report from state police, Ronkin says, will be released next month. That number, says Ronkin, the regional director of the American Jewish Committee, is a 60% increase from the previous year.
You know, I wish I could say I was surprised, but I'm not.
Also disturbing, says Ronkin, another report from the AGC finds 41% of American Jews feel less secure than they did a year ago. Count him among those concerned.
I go to synagogue in Northwest Washington. It's a large synagogue. It is harder for me to get into that congregation than it is for me to get into the airport.
And bringing attention to anti-Semitic crimes is just part of the solution. Ronkin says he'd like to see more victims of those crimes come forward and report what happened. We're live in Rockville. Dave Laval, DC News Now.
Dave, thank you. Police are looking for a suspect who opened fire in a D.C. nightclub late Saturday night, killing one man and injuring 3 other people. 31-year-old Blake Bozeman was one of 4 victims of the nightclub shooting. Officers were called to Crew Nightclub on H Street in Northwest just before midnight. All 4 people were transported to a nearby hospital where Bozeman later died from his injuries. Now we're working to learn the status of the 3 other victims. Bozeman was a basketball player for Morgan State University for 4 years. The university made an official statement on Bozeman's passing saying, quote, "The Morgan family extends our deepest condolences and prayers to the Bozeman family and friends. Our family was an extension of his, and he was a shining example of what it means to be a student athlete." Now, Crew Nightclub also issued a statement saying that they're working closely with D.C. police on this matter. We've reached out to D.C. city officials and the business itself. The business released a statement via social media earlier today saying that it's working with police on the matter and that it works with security partners daily to ensure a safe environment. Now, if you do have any information on the shooting, you are asked to call police. A reward of up to $25,000 is being offered for any information leading to an arrest. In Frederick County, deputies are investigating the death of a woman whose body was found near the Costco distribution center in Monrovia. The Frederick County Sheriff's Office says it received a call for a welfare check around 1:30 in the morning. The caller reported seeing an intoxicated person in the cab of a truck. Deputies made contact with that person, 46-year-old Matthew Sidney Watley of Stickerville, New Jersey, and they found the body of a woman on the floor of that truck. Now, authorities haven't released the name of the victim. Watley has been charged with 1st and 2nd-degree murder. And a heads up, if you ride the Metro bus to work or anywhere else, some bus routes will look different beginning today. Our Tosin Fakile joins us with everything you need to know about Metro changes this week, and she shares some tips on making your Metro ride a little better.
Metro riders, as you get ready to start the work week today, Sunday, adjustments are made to 8 Metro bus routes in the DMV. WMATA says the changes will improve safety, reliability, and rider experience. In D.C., the changes will be made to the B2, H2, H4, S4, and S9 routes. Let's go over to Maryland. There, the B21 and B22 routes will be changed. And over in Virginia, new stops will be added to the 11Y bus route. And Metro wants your feedback as they could soon be changing how they name their bus routes. Officials are asking riders to take a survey on how Metro should rename those routes to make riding easier for passengers. The survey is part of Metro's Better Bus initiative to improve rider experience and efficiency. You can find that survey on Metro's website. And Metro is taking public comment until Thursday, September 28th. I'm Tosin Fakile in the studio for DC News Now. Back to you.
Well, the American Red Cross is putting out the call for donations. It says that the supply is at a critically low level. Back-to-back weather disasters in different parts of the country are driving that shortage, not because people are injured, but because people haven't been able to give donation centers what they need. And it also makes it tougher for the organization to distribute blood. So if you want to donate, you can make an appointment through the Red Cross website. And the case against fired Loudoun County Public School Superintendent Scott Ziegler goes to trial tomorrow morning. Just this past week, a judge denied a motion made by his attorneys to dismiss the charges that he faces. Now, Ziegler is accused of mishandling the high-profile sexual assault scandal in the school division that involved 2 students. Our Max Marcilla was in the courtroom for arguments on Thursday as lawyers for Ziegler accused prosecutors of wrongdoing.
Former Superintendent Scott Ziegler's attorneys said they understood the weight of what they were asking for the charges brought forth by a special grand jury that was investigating for months to be dismissed. It's something that Judge Douglas Fleming ultimately said he did not agree with, saying it was up to a jury to decide guilt or innocence, and the 2 separate trials for the 3 charges Ziegler faces will move forward as scheduled. Ziegler's attorney, Aaron Harrigan, laid out the argument for why there was prosecutorial misconduct severe enough that the charges should be dismissed. She said the prosecutors leading the special grand jury, which was impaneled by Virginia Attorney General Jason Miyares, influenced the jurors, saying there's supposed to be just as much a chance of no indictments as indictments. But the Commonwealth pushed back, repeatedly saying they strenuously reject those allegations and that the investigatory body did a vigorous examination and just wanted to get to the truth about how the same student could commit 2 sexual assaults at 2 different high schools months apart. Judge Fleming said he agreed generally with the Commonwealth, saying trials are for guilt or innocence. And that's what will happen next. Ziegler's 2 trials, the first one next Monday and the second one next February. Reporting in Leesburg, Max Marcella, DC News Now.
Beginning tomorrow, free at-home COVID tests will be available. The White House announced it'll provide $600 million in funding to make it happen. This is the 4th round of free tests being offered. You can place your order online tomorrow. Shipping is free and expected to start early next month. Each home will be allowed 4 test kits. The link to order your test is on our website. That's dcnewsnow.com. And right now, it's National Recovery Month, and the White House is shining a new light on youth substance abuse. This week, the Biden administration met with students in Virginia's first ever Recovery High School program. Now, the White House says more than 20 million Americans are currently in recovery from substance use disorder. National Drug Control Policy Dr. Rahul Gupta says companies can help by hiring people in recovery.
Job is more than a paycheck. It's about dignity. It's about self-respect. We got to make sure that funding doesn't stop going to communities, because it is a matter of life and death.
Right now, Dr. Gupta says he's worried about the looming government shutdown. He says it could hurt the administration's efforts to help people rebuild their lives. And Maryland drivers are required to have their vehicles inspected for emissions. But that may change when lawmakers gather next week in Annapolis. DC News Now's Stephen Cohen explains.
In Maryland, vehicle emissions inspections generate $3 million in revenue each year.
Currently, drivers are required to take new vehicles to be inspected within the first 3 years of purchase. But that could change, according to Maryland Matters. The State Department of Environment and Motor Vehicles Administration are discussing changing vehicle inspections for new cars to be mandatory after 6 years. They claim inspections on new cars are unnecessary.
It's really at your discretion, I think, to get your car inspected personally, but really when you're selling a vehicle, I think that's the most important time to get it inspected.
Both agencies say 99% of new vehicles pass the emissions inspection, so many policy analysts are asking, what's the point?
With all the new recalls happening with the new vehicles coming out, I just feel like people aren't taking it very serious, and I think they're not as important as they once were.
That loss of revenue from fewer inspections would have to be replaced. MVA Administrator Christine Nizer suggests a mandatory $25 smog abatement fee, for example. That could make up the difference. It's something California is currently doing.
I think the requirement to get your car inspected in Maryland is it was a little pushy. I think 3 years to 6 is a good change, I think.
The General Assembly is expected to review the program when it reconvenes next year. Reporting from Frederick, Stephen Cohen, DC News Now.